Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lifestyle Self-Made. My name is Yusuf Kulan, and I have my co-host with me today, Alice Siba. Hello, Alice. How are you doing?
Hello, doing fabulous.
So today we have a very exciting interview to release, and this interview was conducted with Kelly McCausey. She is a mindset coach, podcast pioneer, Twitch streaming granny, former foster mom. And in this interview, we talked about her entrepreneurial journey, the experiences and the challenges that she went through as an entrepreneur and continue to go through as an entrepreneur. Alice Tiba, what do you take from this interview? How do you know Kelly?
Yeah, I've known Kelly for a couple decades, and we met on the work at home mom forums way back in the day, trying to figure things out. We did talk about her podcast pioneering and then how I was involved in that, even though I wanted nothing to do with podcasts at the time. And yeah, I really enjoyed catching up with Kelly because has been a while. And she's such a great, lovely lady. And I know that a lot of our listeners know her and what a great cheerleader she is for other people. And I think that came through in a lot of the things we talked about her fostering teenagers and also being the Twitch streaming granny, as you mentioned, and stuff. So she's built this little community where she is grandmother to some kids who probably need a little bit grandmotherly attention. So it's really was wonderful to see. And I know you guys are going to enjoy it. Kelly also talked about managing business when life is blowing up. There's just so much going on, which we all go through, right? So she gave some wisdom on how to handle that. So yeah, let's listen to Kelly.
Yeah, let's do that. So if you watch this episode and get inspired to start your entrepreneurial journey or to expedite your entrepreneurial journey and compress your learning curve, then I'm more than happy to announce to you that there is a website called ekithubuniversity.com, which we have established ourselves. And there we offer free classes on how to basically build your fundamental business classes on how to build your email list and how to create a sales funnel, make more per sales. And there are more free products as well as premium products that you can participate in and expedite your learning curve and become the successful entrepreneur that maybe one day we will host at
Yeah,
Lifestyle Self-Made.
we love stories from everybody, right? Like we all have our own definition of success and what we want our life to look like. Yeah, we're looking forward to sharing everyone that we can share their story.
Absolutely. And with that being said, let's just start the episode and watch the interview with Kelly McCausey. So today's guest is Kelly McCausey. She has a mindset coach full of shenanigans in the areas of self-love, compassion, and abundance. There was a time when she had no patience for topics of mindset. Kelly is a longtime content marketer with a history of providing services to others. Kelly pulled herself out of poverty and debt through hard work and willingness to get stuff done. In the past, when others would bring up issues of mindset, she would roll her eyes and get back to something more practical. Thankfully, she didn't stay that stubborn because the way we think about everything has a huge impact on our lives and businesses. When Kelly opened her mind to taking a closer look, everything started to change. Today, she's blogging, podcasting, and coaching others around the same ideas that gave her life a complete reboot. Kelly is also a longtime friend of Alice. They've known each other for, I believe, 20 years, and they've also been business partners. Kelly, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. This is bullshit. 20 years and Alice hasn't changed a bit.
More than that. What do you mean? Your hair's just shorter. That's it.
You look like you can pull up like 35.
So let's start with that right away. What kind of business do you guys get together and how do you guys got to know each other? Kelly.
And Alice was running internetbasedmom.com. And I had started a little website called USA Ram that was just a little directory. But it was through meeting Alice that I got really interested in starting an internet radio show. I fell in love with internet radio.
Yeah, that's what we called it. And the word podcast didn't even exist,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Work at Home Mom's Talk Radio was launched in November 2003 as an internet radio show. and Alice was my first sponsor. So she paid the bill so that I could get it rolling. And
Oh,
then that next year we launched a paid membership site together, Mom Mastermind.
Yeah, been a long time. I was saying to Yusuf too, like you said I paid the bills, but you did it like on a shoestring budget. So I wasn't shelling out too much, but you did this amazing thing. Like you put together, you got, because we didn't have the tools. Like you figured out how to have this little, it was like a thing that sat on your desk.
Yes.
And the first thing you bought sounded like you were talking out of a tin can, like
Yes.
getting better and better. So you were a pioneer in that for sure.
so
Yeah.
you mentioned radio, and Alice also mentioned like that was like a podcast didn't exist at that time. That was it that you guys did. Did you guys have a radio channel, or did you guys have a like platform that you used that was instead of
Yeah.
podcast?
Back then, you had to use special streaming hosting, Live 360, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. There was a special hosting that cost like $75 a month 20 years ago, which just felt like $1 million to me. And that would allow up to 50 people to listen at the same time. If you tried to host an internet radio show on your average web hosting, it would just crash your website. But people had to come to my URL and click play. So back then, like we had to train viewership one person at a time. Because I would say I have an internet radio show and they would say, "Oh, what station are you on?" No, not like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
look,
Sorry.
yeah, go on, Alice. So sorry. Go
I'm
on.
just saying, yeah, things have changed a lot. We started then you said I hadn't changed. I'm like, you haven't changed, but you've changed so much also inside and where we've come from that long time ago. And so tell us some things we haven't caught up a whole lot in the last little while, just here and there. And so what have you been up to? Business wise, personal, because it's all related, right?
Yeah, my life has changed dramatically in the last few years. When just as the pandemic was hitting, I had decided to start taking action on a long time goal of moving towards adopting. And I became a foster parent and fostered 3 different teenage girls over the course of a year and a half. And thank goodness for a successful, vibrant, multi-income stream business, because the last year of that was just pure chaos.
Wow.
Being involved in the foster care system, working with teenagers that have been traumatized, it was a crazy roller coaster ride. And man, it took me back, like it put me through the ringer, because Alice knows that I'm a child, I'm adopted, was raised by alcoholic parents. My mother was physically and emotionally abusive. And so here I am, 56 years old, thinking, I got this, no problem. I got this. I did not got this at all. It was hell.
Wow.
And I was a complete and utter failure in every way.
Oh no. Oh, but I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
No, I was a loving presence in their life, no doubt, because I had learned to have great compassion with myself. I could always have compassion with them. But turns out love is not enough to fix everything all the time. And one stubborn woman is not going to get far against a really broken system. And so I do feel like I failed, like my goal, I fail. And I hold that with a lot of self-love and compassion, because it was a losing proposition from the beginning to think that I could just take someone into my home and make it all better.
Yeah.
That was never.
You've made a difference to those girls, right? For sure.
I hope so. It's just such a terrible system. And I went into it thinking I'll be the one who never gives up. And I gave up.
Oh,
Like,
wow. Yeah.
I gave up. But
Did
the
you have all three around the same time or a different time?
different. I started out with a 15-year-old refugee from Congo. That was fascinating experience. It was brief. She doesn't want to be in foster care. I didn't give up on her, but she had to move on. And then I had drifters. that were with me for about a year. And the system, it's the issue. I think I gave up. I'm rough on myself about it, clearly, but it's the mental health system is failing. And both of the girls needed more mental health care than I could ever get for them.
Yeah,
So the
it's
only way to
true.
get them the help they need was to give up and force the system to take some more
Right.
responsibility.
Yeah. But what you said though, like going back to what about thank goodness for the multiple income streams and stuff, because that it like whether someone is gonna be adopting, they have their own
Yeah.
kids, like that is you are able to put the time
Yeah.
into that. And that is such a blessing. I sometimes think about obviously for a while I did go to a full-time job, but I looking back, I don't know how people do it. How do they do it?
Well,
40 hours a week. Then they have to do all the commuting and everything else. And it's like it's a lot. And it
yeah.
will sound like I'm whining, but I appreciate that people are able to do that. And having this freedom gives you an opportunity to do something else
Yeah.
with meaningful.
You've raised these teenagers. You know, it's like
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
there was a good 3 months where I had no control over my days. Like I was constantly being called to the schools. If it wasn't one school, it was the other school. It was just, there was always another appointment to go to and just managing the chaos all the time that I could, I was just so grateful that I could dial back what I needed to do on a day-to-day basis
Yeah.
and make really laser targeted decisions about if when I was going to make time to work, had to be focused on money. I couldn't dawdle around with some other fun thing. It was like, what's going to make money today?
And what was that thing that that made you the money, if you will, so that you could
Email marketing, affiliate marketing, promoting my own offers, a little less time. My podcast faded into the background quite a bit at that time because the act of sitting down and recording a podcast is not a direct money making activity.
Yeah.
It supports my business, it builds my community, creates connection, but it's not a direct financial paycheck. So I had to focus on what can I promote today? What buy button can I publish? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
In your bio, you mentioned that there was a time when you had no patience for topics of. So when was
Yeah.
that, and why did you have that attitude towards it?
About 10 years ago, I went to a radical leadership retreat. Good friend, coach, Tree Starkin, and it invited me to come to this retreat. I was deeply resistant to all of her invitations for a really long time. But there was something really compelling about her. I liked how I felt when I was around her. So many people who talk about mindset have this fluffy, airy fairy, if you think it, it'll happen. And if you will it, it'll appear. Like it never made any sense to me. Teresa's perspective on mindset was way more where the rubber meets the road, how you think about things. And she called me out on some limiting thoughts. She called me out on some things that I said about myself.
She needs to
Like
talk to
what?
you about the foster thing.
Yeah, she
Great on
does.
that.
She does. But I used to say I'm not a people person. And that was bullshit. Complete bullshit.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't trust people. I didn't believe many people when they said that they liked me. I didn't trust people because I felt like if they're being kind to me, if they're trying to be my friend, it's probably because they want something. I just didn't have a lot of trust. So I would say I was not a people person and that I didn't like to be touched. I didn't like to be hugged. And none of that was true. But I believed it. I believed it about myself. It's all part of all the self-protective mechanisms that I built around myself to survive my childhood. And they served me pretty well in a dysfunctional way through some of my adulthood. But at the point where I met her and she started to call me out on it, I realized I think she's right. I think it is bullshit, but I'm scared to try something different. And so I accepted her invitation to go to radical leadership. And that was the big breakthrough moment where I spent time with other people who were trying to open up their mind and heart to showing up differently in the world. And it's where I had a massive self-love epiphany. And I left that event just pained. Like, transformation is one of those buzzwords, but I left there transformed. Took years to unpack it.
Yeah. I remember like when we first met, you were always very like kind and open to me. But then also I saw that like the way you interact with people is so different now too. There you had some rough edges and a lot of rigid views on a lot of things, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was a good Christian. And I don't want to set any Christians on edge right now, but I I became a Christian when I was about 28, 29 years old, and I really desperately needed something to believe in. I needed a community to be part of. I needed love in my life, and God and the church provided that. But it also provided a really rigid framework of what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable. And I threw myself into that completely. And so while I would have said I was walking around the world as a loving person, but walking around the world as a very judgmental person because I was finding my value in doing the right thing and being the right way. And so anyone else who wasn't, I was judging and withholding myself from. And so, yeah, that I was very rigid and withholding. I withheld love from others. I withheld love from myself a lot.
Oh, I'm glad you've had that experience. And obviously you're so great at sharing the message with others and helping others figure those things out for themselves too. And that's something that you're doing as part of your business now too.
Yeah, I've moved more and more into talking about mindset. After radical leadership, I continued to coach with Therese for years. I went back and got certified with radical leadership to be able to use the coaching models in my work. I started, as I unpacked more of it in my life and started to live and experience things differently, I wanted to talk more about it. I started to introduce mindset more and more into my coaching. But last year, right around this time, I went ahead and followed my heart and created a whole new brand at meskills.com where I'm talking all about mindset, heavy emphasis on self-love, self-compassion, and leaning into skills that help us build a better and better life. At, as of this time, I've already made it known. I've already announced it to my community. I'm retiring as a business coach on May 1st. I'm not going to be doing business coaching
Congratulations.
anymore. I'm going to be doing these skills full time. And I'm, it, I still love content marketing like crazy. I still geek out about talking about it. Like I could keep doing this. I could keep doing this for a long time and be really happy. But something has been happening, and I don't know if either of you have ever experienced it, but I would rather invest my time and energy into my own content than into someone else's content. As a business coach, I spend a lot of time digging into someone else's business, helping them get their message clear, design their funnel, and I get excited about it. I love it. It's geeky, nerdy goodness, but I get it. I'm starting to get downright annoyed when they don't follow through.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, I could have been working on my own stuff and seeing it birthed into the world. But instead, I was playing with you. And even though I got very well to do it, it's not in the world. And that when I started to get annoyed with clients, I knew it couldn't be like there's no amount of money in the world that's worth being annoyed with somebody.
No, actually a great way to look at it. And also that touches on the idea of evolving in business. And I think that you do that very well and fitting it into your lifestyle and things like that. And like how you mentioned, like the podcast that you said it went off to the side. because that was one of the first things to go. And it's funny because when you started your radio show, you told me I should do that. And then eventually you're like, you should just have a podcast, Alice. You're going to have a podcast. No. So I think it's 22 years, probably at least 22 years later. The time is there. I used to hate like being scheduled to be somewhere, even if it's in my own home. I didn't like it. But now I feel like there is more time where I can put this in and where I'm also more comfortable having these conversations because I was always writing, not speaking. So you predicted it and it fits exactly with what you said. Like it's when there's time, when you're able to do and dedicate yourself to something.
Yeah.
What do you guys? I want to, I'm hinting at a certain thing that you're doing something in your spare time on the internet for fun that I think is amazing. I told my kids about it.
You're talking about gaming, Twitch streaming.
You're a Twitch grandma, or what is the name? Which
NanaCreative. Yeah.
What was the name? NanaCreative?
NanaCreative is my Twitch channel.
Oh, nice.
Long before the pandemic, my son and daughter-in-law had been trying to bully me into streaming because they would hear me play video games. And I don't know, do you know that when we play video games, we often die and curse and yell and
I scream a lot. I don't play very many.
But I would be dying and yelling and cursing and laughing. And my son was like, you should be a Twitch streamer. People would get such a riot out of watching a grandmother cursing at a video game. And my response over and over again was, I don't need another reason to create content. If I'm going to create content, I'm going to do it for my business. I don't need another reason to sit on my ass in front of the camera. And those were always my responses. Then COVID hit and we weren't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? I think I'll give it a shot. So I created a Twitch channel and I started to stream my favorite video game. And I became utterly addicted. It was fun. Like I loved the video game. I just hit 5,000 hours of gameplay in that particular video game, which is insane.
Wow.
But that's how much of my life I've poured into it.
What game was that? Just out of
It's called
curiosity.
Don't Starve Together. It's a little indie game out of Canada. Their Clay Entertainment is in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, interesting.
That I was streaming it. And so then other people who are interested in the game come to watch. And they're like, oh my God, how old are you? How long have you been playing? And they would send me money on Twitch. That the first 50, so you have to get 50 followers before they can start paying you. I hit 50 followers. They started to send me money and subscribe to my channel. And then about that time, I just thought, isn't it crazy? I've always said that content creates community and community creates content. And here it is happening. All I'm doing is sitting down here and playing a game and talking about what I like about the game. And a community is growing around it. And money is growing around the community. And all I have to do is show up and have fun. That blew my mind. Because I just gave myself permission to keep going. Even long after the pandemic was the excuse, I just kept going. And now I'm an ambassador for the company.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's so sweet. These young kids buy this video game. And then they come to Twitch to watch the game in order to earn their drops. They earn little special skins to use in their game. And so they'll get raided into my channel by another player. And they'll be like, oh, you cute. Oh, how old are you? Are you actually a Nana? And then they'll start giving me advice on how to play the game. And it's so cute. I'll be like, oh, you're being so helpful. How long have you been playing? They're like, oh, I've got 300 hours in this thing. And someone in my channel will be like, honey, man has been playing this game longer than you've been alive, I think. The game came out in 2014. It's such a fun thing. And so I was surprised. I was delightfully surprised by how the community grew and money grew around it. I've made as much as $1,000 a month from my stream, which is it's just a little bit of something isn't usually that much. But the other surprising thing is that they're coming to play the game. They're watching me die, fail, struggle, swear. They're watching me accept help from a bunch of teenagers. And I joke about, like, I'm dominated by an 18-year-old in North Dakota because I grind all his resources for him to build. I'm also dominated by a 30-year-old in Poland who bosses me around and reminds me to wear armor. Like, I just do what they tell me to do, but I fail and I try again and I suck at it and I still do it. And over again, people will say, "Oh my God, it just means so much to me to see you not give up. It means so much to me to see a grandma enjoying something that I enjoy." But the beautiful thing that happened about 6 months into streaming is that these young people, they're all ages, but a lot of them are quite young, come into the stream and they'll say they're having a bad day. And I'll say, what's going on? Well, we're starting to have really deep conversations. And there's a lot of, I don't think it's any mistake. I don't think it's any accident. The craziness of the way the world works is that right about the time that I go through a complete faith deconstruction in my life, confronting how I felt about a family member being trans, gay, lesbian, trans people started to show up in my chat and share their stories with me. And I could just be a loving, non-judgmental, fully supportive presence. And over again, people would say, can you be my Nana? My Nana hates my guts. My Nana doesn't want me to come to Christmas. Would you be my Nana? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, the Twitch streaming has been a delight in so many ways to see how important it is to just show up and be yourself everywhere
really
that you
cool.
can.
That is
That you're helping in a community and that you're doing it from home too, right?
Yeah. And I like the fact that it made you 1K a month. That was during COVID while socializing when everyone else didn't have much opportunity to
Yeah.
socialize with others. So the question I've thought about, I play video games sometimes. I play mostly Age of Mythology. It's an old game. I thought of maybe like streaming and playing online with guys, and I thought of Twitch and all that stuff, but I'm not really good at the game. So I'm not sure what I can bring to the table. So my question to you is that, were you good at the game or so it doesn't matter. It's just like personality,
No,
right?
there's a channel redemption. You can set up channel redemptions, and one of them is Revive Nana. And that because I died a lot. They spend their channel points to let me cheat myself back to life. And that channel redemption has a little voice chat message that just says, do better, Nana, do better. Like, it's just, you don't have to be good. I think I have watched streamers, other Clay ambassadors that are really good at the game. And my people will come, like right now, there's a drop season. So there's a lot of new people watching my stream. And they'll say, oh my God, it's so good to see someone who's just not very good at it. Because they see other people, there's this 32-year-old guy in Portugal, Blurn. He's so bad. It's like, he can do anything. He can survive for 5,000 days without dying in a hardcore world. And I'm over here dying 3 times a night on average. These newer players to the game see someone that good and they just go, I'll never be that good. And so then they see Nana and go, oh, I can do this. Like,
You are an inspiration, Nana. You brought up the question and you answered it when I know the answer, but I don't know if I know the full answer of how much of a Nana you are, because you are a Nana. And
I have
so
a
family situation there.
So my son Sean has given me 2 grandkids. Ava is 8 and Reese is 4. And they're here. I'm surprised they haven't interrupted. My son's going through a divorce, which that happened right as I had finished up with foster parenting. I didn't know I was going to finish up with foster parenting. I thought I would take a break and take another kid. But my son's gone through a divorce. He's moved back home. So now my house is full of grandchildren. And I'm not planning to return to foster parenting. But then also, like after 30 some years of being alive. I'm dating.
I know
I
you
have a
showed me like a little brief picture. I was like, what?
yeah. So now my life is just super duper different. Like just so different.
Yeah, I'm really happy that that came to you. And yeah, you like as a single woman for a long time. And I think that probably was what had to happen for you and how, and it was like, yeah, you weren't rushing it. You didn't try to get something that force anything. And I think that's really admirable because a lot of people don't want to be alone. And think you are an inspiration in that way as well for all you have accomplished. And I remember when we started working together, you mentioned debt at the beginning, but I believe I remember that you were working off that debt
Yeah.
when we met
Yeah.
and you had
Yeah.
a plan. And from what I remember, it didn't even take you that like you did it.
Yeah. Starting Mom Mastermind created so much more income than I was earning. Like I was still working at the church full time and I was doing my like graphic design, web design,
Hmm.
selling ads on the podcast on the side. But I poured everything into crushing the debt. And that from when I started my business to try to just keep my utilities turned on in 2002, I was debt free in September of 2005. So then I quit the day job.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
If you could go back in time, is there anything you'd change about your journey to becoming an entrepreneur?
I always say I would have started affiliate marketing sooner
Sooner. Okay.
because I thought affiliate marketing was something that people with massive lists did.
Hmm.
And so I always blew off affiliate marketing opportunities. And you know how, especially with a recurring program, it builds over time and becomes more and more joyful. If I would have started sooner, I would have had more joy back then.
Yeah, it's someone else
Yeah.
makes the product and does the support.
Yeah. The other thing would definitely be to value myself sooner, to charge better for my time. And it was really tough because I never made more than $11 an hour in a day job. I'm a high school dropout.
Wow.
Never made any. I ran a daycare for a few years where I made decent money,
Mhm.
but my perspective of what my time was worth meant if somebody was getting me like $30, $40 an hour, it felt like a lot of money. I had to be like smacked around quite a bit by many people before I started to charge what I was worth. And now I understand that pricing is just so arbitrary and I can, and like circling back to what I said before about there's no amount of money worth getting annoyed with somebody. I can charge whatever the hell I want for business coaching. I've charged as much as 20 grand to spend some time with me. Like, if you don't take action,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a dollar amount that's going to make me okay with inaction.
Yeah.
So I know how to take action. I'll just take action for myself.
Yeah, that's a great way to finish this off too. And so if people would like to know more about you, Kelly, they can find you on Twitch and where else?
MeSkills.com is going to be my home on the web going forward. I am very excited about doing the Last Stretch Yourself Content Marketing Challenge in April. I'm really jazzed to do it. It's the 15th annual. It's going to be it's going to be my last hurrah as a content marketing coach. And I want to fill the challenge with lots of people who
Nice.
just go out with a bang.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And it's good to catch up with you and hear all the stories. And we should do it more often, I think.
Yeah.
You're still in Michigan?
Yeah. Damn it.
So far away.
You don't like it there? Is that what you said?
If I didn't have grandchildren, I would not be living here. I would have made my escape to a warmer climate.
Where would you go? Because I know a lot of people are fleeing California, at least the people that I watch online.
I like the panhandle of Florida a lot.
Okay.
Done a lot down in Pensacola, Destin. I don't know for sure. Just I wouldn't live somewhere where there's snow. I
Right.
wouldn't.
Does it snow in Michigan? I'm not really familiar with, it's cold.
It does. We don't have any right now because we just had a crazy warm snap. But
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, most of the winter, there's snow, way too much snow.
Sounds like Sweden. And I'm like, nah, I grew up in Sweden. And I'm like, I don't like the snow as much. It's beautiful to look at, but it's not practical to go about, have an awesome life, if you will.
Yep. I
I see.
agree. I agree.
I
Well,
hope maybe next time, maybe not because of the grandchildren, but in a future, podcast episode, you will tune in from somewhere tropical.
Get them
And
both in school more, get the divorce final. I'll get back to more travel again. I'll be looking forward to that.
all right. Thanks again, Kelly. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.